Hey everybody, and welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, it's time to take a second stab at the GoldenEye 007 360 static recompilation project. That is because we discussed this on Saturday, and since then, there have been some fundamental improvements to the overall build and formula that a lot of people are going to want to know about. And honestly, that video was quite successful. People were stoked about the idea, unless they weren't, and I'll get into that in just a bit. But honestly, if you were interested in the idea of the 360 canceled version of the GoldenEye remake being something you play on your PC, you're going to have a hell of a lot better time with it this time. And that is because full mouse and keyboard support have been incorporated in compared to the original build, where it was definitely a little bit janky, and that's exactly how I am playing it here. And this is actually hooked outside of RexGlue, so it is code that's basically just made for this project. And I will say it works 100% exactly how you need it to. It has analog value adjustments, so you're going to be able to set the sensitivity however you want. And just so you know, I use a trackball for editing, so that's what I'm using here. But I would say maybe GoldenEye slightly too easy when you actually have mouse aim in a lot of fun ways, just because the game was never really developed for that. But honestly, the reception to this video, a lot of people were really excited and happy about the idea, and a small percentage of people just weren't happy about it at all. And hey, that is totally fine with me, because honestly, if you're trying to make 100% of people happy 100% of the time, you are basically swimming upriver, and you're never actually going to be successful at that. So if this is something you're interested in, I'm stoked for you. If it's not something you're interested in, that is totally fine with me as well. I am here to show you what is new and what is relevant, and then you can make the determination as to whether or not it's something you want to play. But the idea that there's some sort of content that I can't make on this channel or shouldn't talk about, I'm sorry, but that's just not how it is going to work. And if that's an issue, that's totally fine as well, but I make that decision. And I want to kind of go over what this is and what it isn't, because it seemed to trip a few people up in the initial video. What RexGlue is doing, it is recompiling the PowerPC code and then spitting out native code that an x86 processor can handle. So as far as the PowerPC portion of the Xbox 360, that is being statically recompiled the same way you'd statically recompile code on any of the other recomps that you're seeing out there, no matter the platform. Yes, the instruction set is different, but the process is generally the same. And then underlying that, you have Xenia, the Xbox 360 emulator that's basically dealing with the video and the audio. So the idea that this is just a Xenia wrapper with nothing else going on underneath it, and that isn't technically true, and it's not technically false, because Xenia is handling the video and the audio, and there will be more improvements coming to that as well. But the PowerPC code is 100% being recompiled before you actually launch the executable, well, not technically when you double click it, and that's what Xenia and RexGlue are doing here. I just want to kind of explain that a little bit more, because I know the entire concept can trip a lot of people up, because honestly, it is a very in-depth conversation. But as far as the improvements here on this most recent build, I will say the mouse aiming is 10 out of 10 spot on. Now, depending on what sort of mouse you're using, you might need to adjust the analog values. I up them just a little bit, but again, I am on a trackball because I'm a film editor and filmmaker for a living, so I don't really ever use a mouse. And even though I do have a gaming mouse in my drawer that I can take out every once in a while, I just decided to see how it felt on trackball, because that usually is the final boss. So you can control the entire game with mouse and keyboard. You're going to have the fluidity and everything else you need in something like GoldenEye 007. And because this game never properly came out, it's fun to see other people doing stuff with this project, basically trying to make it as good as possible for more fans out there to enjoy. And yes, I realize there's other ways to play something like GoldenEye 007 via emulation with mouse and keyboard support, and I will definitely make a video on that shortly. People ask why I didn't talk about that in the initial video, and I talk about really new recent news topics, and that's something that, while hyper impressive, hasn't been updated in a minute, so it just really wasn't on my radar. But just so everyone knows that there are other options out there, I'll probably spin up a video on that and talk about it maybe early next week, because it honestly is every bit as impressive as anything else out there, and I do love it. But as far as GoldenEye 007, the 360 recomp, this version is going to solve a lot of issues, and I know the developer is currently working on the AMD bug as well. It seems like some AMD users are not getting actual graphics out of this, where on the NVIDIA side they are. But let's do the first soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back with more. So yeah, it definitely just sounds like GoldenEye 007 to me, but you leave me a comment down below because I always love to say I have two tin ears and audio issues more often than not just completely escape me. But as we kind of just wiggle the mouse around here to show you guys the mouse aiming, it is highly accurate and I was able to hit basically every single shot in the recomp that I needed to hit. Now, of course, I'm not some sort of first-person shooter professional, so I will miss here and there, but that is down to my own lack of skill, apparently, than it is anything with the mouse input. But this is definitely something that a lot of people wanted because it was the #1 question outside of what file set do you need for your totally legally owned Project Bean dev kit in your closet. A couple of people were saying they were using theirs as door stops, and I have two, so I have two doors propped open with them. So basically, this was the #1 request, and now it is taken care of, and I know the developer has plans on bringing in modding and other features in the future. Now, of course, we all know how it was made, and like I said, that is something that I let you guys decide on. I really actually just deliver the news here. People seem to think that if I make a video, it's some sort of stamp of approval promotion of it. You guys can continue to think that, the people that do, and there's nothing I can say to change your mind on it, but I like delivering gaming news to people and then letting them decide if it's something they are interested in. It's kind of like reading the morning newspaper. You don't get mad at the writer if you don't like the headline. They didn't make it up. They're just delivering you information. And this one definitely feels like something that a lot of people are going to want to know about. And that basically tracks with all of the different comments I've seen. And that really is the thing. There's going to be a lot more of these projects in the future in 2026 and beyond. And I really feel like in the next 10 years, you're going to get into a situation where basically every single popular game ever made in the retro era, and yes, I think the 360 is retro, but you can disagree down below. It actually is a really fun philosophical conversation. They're all going to have static recomps or maybe source ports based upon decompilation projects, because we're going to have a lot of those as well. And if you're somebody who doesn't want to touch anything that any sort of cloud agent or AI has touched, I will tell you right now that is going to eliminate basically 100% of any of these projects in some way, shape, or form. So if you're completely someone who just wants to avoid it, and again, that's cool with me. You do you. I have no issues with it whatsoever. You just need to be aware of that actual topic. But as we come into the open area here, hitting these shots from a distance, it just feels so natural and so good. This is definitely a great build, and I did mention to the developer, and I totally get it. Releasing the first version as a 1.0 status, that confused a lot of people, and it definitely wasn't 1.0. I would say it was like 0.5, so maybe if the number conventions change, the perception of it would change alongside of it. But one more soundtrack sample, I'll come back and show you some more GoldenEye 007 recomp. I mean, honestly, it's an iconic soundtrack, and it sounds great coming out of the actual RexGlue recompilation. And I am sure this will see updates. I know the developer has them planned, but leave me a comment down below and you tell me, what is the one thing you would love to see to come to a port like this? For me personally, and I say it almost every single video, and I don't expect it, just one of those things I always enjoy. A little VR support wouldn't hurt because I think it's just a really fun thing. But I totally get there's a lot more work to be done before you do anything like actually playing around with virtual reality headsets. And honestly, if you had a Venn diagram of people that played recomps or source ports and a Venn diagram of people who played VR, the overlap would be absolutely minuscule, and there'd probably be about a dozen of us. But hey, a boy can dream after all, isn't that right? And as far as the playability of this project is concerned, I spent last night going through every single mission on mouse and keyboard on agent level because I had limited amount of time and just wanted to go through those actual requirements, and I was able to play every single mission from start to finish with no issues. Am I saying the GoldenEye 007 360 Recomp is a perfect project? No, I am not. It is still being developed, and I'm sure there are still some issues in here that I just didn't see. Am I saying that it's something that if you want to play, you're going to have a fun time with? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And honestly, there's so many different recomps and PC ports out there that are still in active development that have these same issues, and they do get resolved. So if you want to check this one out, it is updated. Next time it gets a fundamental update, I'll give you guys a new video. And as far as the idea that I can't talk about a certain subject on the channel, I'll continue to bring you guys the news. But I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.